What's up, you amazing people? I hope you're having a fantastic day. You are, of course, watching and listening to the Daily Dirty 30, also known as the DDT, here on The Kevin Lee Show. And I am your host, Kevin Lee. Now, for those of you who do not know what the DDT is all about, let me take a moment to explain. You see, it's a show that airs live at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday, and it's where I get to spend 30 minutes telling you, the viewer, all about the things that bother me today. What do I get out of it? That's easy. It's cathartic. Why should you tune in? That's even easier. It's entertaining. Sound like a fair trade? Good. Let's get to it. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of the Daily Dirty 30 here on the Kevin Lee Show. And before we jump into our I think we have 4 topics again tonight, I wanted to simply do a little house cleaning, if you don't mind. Do a little business. I'm going to say a dirty word. And I know it might offend some of you, and I apologize if it does. But here I go. I'm just gonna say it. Masks. I know no one likes it. Everyone hates it, and for good reason, because masks are horrible. Well, okay, they're not horrible, but they're really bad, right? No one likes masks. And if you do, you're probably like a sadist or something. Or, yeah, whatever. Masochistic? I don't know, whatever. You're a terrible human being. No, not really. But that being said, masks are a reality. People sometimes want them and many times need them, even if it's just little times here and there. And we can't ever have enough masks, right? So I figured, what the heck? Why not go over to thekevinleeshow.com/masks, and there you will be able to see such things as a mask. This is the mask. This is actually the Kevin Lee Show mask. We also have the Daily Dirty 30 mask. And also, not to be left out, the Libertarian Hour mask. Now, these masks are available for anywhere between the price of $12 to $17, depending upon what size and what quality mask you buy. Go ahead and check out thekevinleeshow.com/masks and see if you like anything. And if you do, please buy it. That being said, we're done now with the ugly part of the show. Now we get to the fun part of the show. And what part would that be? Where is the fun? That is literally the name of the show. Where is the fun? The reason why I say this is because it seems like fun seems to be missing lately in our world. And I don't care if you're in America or if you're in the Midwest like me, or you're on the East Coast, West Coast. You could be in Canada, you could be in England, you could be in Spain. But that's about it. No, I'm just kidding. You could be in Australia, China. It doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't seem to be any fun anymore, right? And why is that? Well, there's a number of reasons. Sometimes it's just flat out depression. Sometimes it's just people are down because, the economy's down or they might be out of work. I get that. But just in general, everyone just seems to be focusing with this laser pointed focus on just the most negative things humanly possible, right? That's all they care about is just whatever the negative thing is. I don't get it, but it's there. That being said, we're going to get to a little bit of fun tonight. But before we do, I do have one story that's kind of, I don't want to say a negative because it's not negative. It's just a little bit of a downer compared to the other ones. So let's just get to it real quick. Let's just pull off the Band-Aid, and then we will be able to get to the good stuff, right? Right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, should the U.S. delay the presidential election in November, on November 3rd, 2002? Should we be pushing it back? Should we be going elsewhere? Should we be having it at a different time? Should we delay it? No, we shouldn't. Obviously, we shouldn't. I'll answer this for you. We should not be delaying it. But the reason why this comes up is President Donald Trump decided that he wanted to tweet the suggestion that perhaps we should delay the November 3rd election, and Twitter and just the internet in general lost its mind. So, and it wasn't just one tweet. That's the beautiful part of this. He just didn't do one tweet. Let me hop over here. So here's the first tweet that I saw. So this is the first tweet. Says, New York, and I'm going to read this for anyone who might be listening to this on the podcast. New York mail-in voting is in a disastrous state of condition. Votes from many weeks ago are missing. A total mess. They have no idea what is going on. Rigged election. I told you so. Same thing would happen, but on massive scale with USA. Fake news refuses to report. That's a perfect Trump tweet. Am I right? Yes. So this was one of the tweets. I mean, if this is the only tweet he had, I'm sure people would be upset. I'm sure people would be making terrible tweets in response to this and just, being who they are. But it gets better. Trump then goes on saying, mail-in voting is already proving to be a catastrophic disaster. Even testing areas are way off. The Dems talk of foreign influence in voting, but they know that mail-in voting is an easy way for foreign countries to enter the race. Even beyond that, there's no accurate count. I'm not sure. I mean, you could make an argument for some of the things that he's saying, but he never takes data and goes, here's the proof of what I'm saying. I mean, never, ever, never even remotely. But it makes for good tweets. All right, so let's move to our third tweet, just on this subject, just from Donald Trump. And that would be this. With universal mail-in voting, not absentee voting, which is good, 2020 will be the most inaccurate and fraudulent election in history. It will be a great embarrassment to the USA. Delay the election until people can properly, securely, and safely vote? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Now, you can say he's just messing with people. You can say he's trolling. You can say that he's maybe even potentially planting seeds or attempting to plant seeds. It's probably a little bit of all column A, B, and C. You know, there's an old saying that I learned at a very young age, and it goes like this. If you never ask, the answer is always no. So if he goes out there and makes a few statements like he did here on Twitter, and he has this third tweet that literally says, delay the election until people can properly, securely, and safely vote? Question mark, question mark, question mark. That's a way of questioning. And he's hoping to maybe plant some seeds. Why? I don't really know. Maybe he thinks if he waits a little while, like an extra few weeks or a month, maybe things will be better. It won't be. And no, we should not delay the election. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't care if you're supporting Trump or want him to be reelected or what view you might have. I just don't believe in delaying it. I mean, we've been in literally world wars. We didn't delay the election. We just didn't. So, yeah, we're not going to do it this time. But it was a good try. You can't blame a man for trying. That said, he also sent out another tweet, which I find a little amusing. And this is, let me bring this up here. This was I don't even know exactly what this was, but we'll just play it. Shall we? Shall we? Yes, we shall.
If you know how to mail a letter, you already know how to mail in your vote.
How you doing? Good, thanks. Thank you very much.
But how long might it take for that vote to actually arrive and be counted?
Oh, you're welcome. Have a good afternoon.
We decided to test it, sending 100 mock ballots simulating 100 voters from locations all across Philadelphia to a P.O. box we set up to represent a local election office. A couple days later, we mailed 100 more using the same size envelopes and the same class of mail as real ballots here. To approximate the weight, we even folded mock votes into every one. In the following week, we checked our P.O. box for the results.
Mail pickup notice, there's more.
When we went to collect everything, though,
Nothing?
most of our votes seemed to be lost.
That's all I have back there right now. But there's
You're
nothing.
short, huh? You're totally short. I believe you. I just...
All right, then. Have a good day.
Okay, take care.
We had to ask for a manager
I'm trying to do something about mailing ballots.
and explain ourselves before someone finally found our votes.
They have them somewhere else.
Okay, thank you.
1, 2.
We soon discovered another problem, missorted mail. 2 pieces of it.
We got a birthday card from Mike to Ronnie. Have a sweet B-day. Get it? There's a B on top.
When the birthday greetings ended,
12, 13.
we found a bigger issue. 21% of our votes hadn't materialized after 4 days. And the batch we'd mailed a week prior, some of those were missing too.
So of our 100 ballots, 97 arrived, which sounds pretty good, unless you consider the fact that that means 3 people who tried to vote by mail in our mock election were in fact disenfranchised by mail.
In a close election, 3% could be pivotal, especially in what's expected to be a record year for mail-in voting.
We're going to see somewhere between probably 80 and 100 million voters receiving their ballot that way.
The Postal Service says voters should mail their return ballots at least 1 week prior to the due date. But nearly half of all states still allow voters to request ballots less than a week before the election. So you can forgive the public for being a tad confused.
How long do you think the post office recommends?
About 3 days, 2 to 3 days.
They're saying at least a week.
A week?
They're saying at least a week for your vote.
I just don't trust the mail. That's true.
You don't trust the mail either?
Well, I just don't. I would like to give, especially during COVID, give them ample time to deliver it.
I don't trust it.
Why not?
I don't know. I'm scared that it might get lost in the mail. I just want to make sure that my vote is submitted. Like, I see that it's submitted, that it actually counts.
Tony DeCopel, CBS News, New York.
Okay, so as you can see, there's a reason why Donald Trump decided to tweet this video. Now, you can make the argument that, oh, this is nonsense. This isn't really how it's going to be. And it could be. It could be a wonderful turnout if we do mail-in voting for most of the country. But like he said, here's a simple test, a controlled test, taking all the same size envelopes, mailing them in similar areas, doing them in batches, just like they would be if they were done in mail-in voting. And literally, there was tons of missing at first until he told them this was a test. And all of a sudden, boom, 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 a bunch more showed up. And even then, not all of them showed up. And this was just 100 ballots. Imagine if we do, I don't know, 50 million ballots. And then on top of it, there is an issue because there's a good reason why this is an issue. Because if you think about it, these people will not be able to count them in a reasonable amount of time. Like he said, there are 20 plus states, mine's one of them, where you can actually request a mail-in ballot 7 days before the election, have to wait for it, receive it, fill it out, and then mail it back. Now, that being said, I am in Illinois, and I actually think Illinois does a pretty decent job with their mail-in ballots because they're not blindly sending out mail-in ballots to everyone like California and a couple other states are talking about doing. What they're actually talking about doing, or what they're actually doing in Illinois, I should say, is that if I have to personally request a mail-in ballot, then when I do, they will mail me the ballot in the time frame, which I think starts somewhere in end of September, beginning of October. And then I have to mail it back, and they recommend at least a week ahead of time. But I can technically post date my mail-in ballot the day of the election, which is just weird. Okay. The reason why this is so strange to me, at least, is that if you had required that it maybe had to be post-dated 5 days before the election, that would make sense to me, because that way by election day, your vote has been received and counted. And like I said, in Illinois, we do it a little better because what we do is I have to personally request one. I will get a confirmation. Once they mail it to me, I'll get a confirmation. Once I mail it back in and they receive it and it's been counted, I will get another confirmation. So at least I as the voter, have some idea of what's going on. I can at least feel like, maybe they're lying to me. Maybe they never received my vote. Maybe, who knows? Maybe they decided to check yes for everyone. But at least I'm getting a confirmation stating that they are counting my vote. So it's something. But again, this is not the best idea, right? If you can get out to vote, great. The only problem is I'm certain that many states are going to make it very difficult to get out in person and vote, trying to promote mail-in voting. And I'm not concerned necessarily anyone's going to steal the election. What I'm concerned with is that we're not going to even know who won the election until mid-December. It might be a Christmas Day miracle to find out who's going to be the next president. It could be that ridiculous. Who knows? Okay, so now we're done with the not so happy part of the news. But again, talking about sports, how we have been recently. We've been talking about sports several times. Last week, I brought up the idea of sports coming back and people getting excited. And then we had baseball come back, and that kind of hit a snag. But then we started talking about NFL. But now NFL might be hitting a snag because many players are deciding, like, hey, you know what? I don't want to put myself in danger or my family in danger, so I'm going to not play this year, right? But now the NBA is returning. In fact, and it's so confusing. So the NBA returns. The NBA is set to return today, July 30th. But then I saw other reports, and even I got some snapshots here saying it's going to be the 31st. But then I got a text a little while ago or a message on my phone saying that, hey, I think it was the Lakers and the Clippers are playing. So, obviously it's back today. It's just so strange. I don't know if people can't get their stuff together or what have you, but it is rather strange. But as this will state, the NBA comeback July 31st. ESPN Worldwide of Sports Complex in Florida, which is Orlando, Florida. 22 teams, 8 seeding games per team, 16-team playoff field. Now, I know that doesn't make a lot of sense necessarily, so we've got some more pictures to work with. Currently, right now, as it stands, there are 13 teams coming back to compete from the Western Conference, and there are 9 teams from the Eastern Conference. So, and again, I'm not certain because I saw conflicting reports. So I'm not certain if you were over a certain threshold, you got welcomed back. If I don't know if they just wanted to take anyone who was willing to come back. I'm not sure. But I think it was some type of threshold, like how many wins they had before the season went into hiatus, or they'd be within X amount of games of the wild card, something like that. But there are 13 teams in the Western Conference, 9 teams in the Eastern Conference. And the way they're actually doing this is rather interesting. So they're taking all the teams and they're staying in the same complex. I don't know how many hotels they have on this complex, but there's like 3 little mini arenas, bubbles, if you will, where there's courts, and they're going to be playing these games. So on 3 separate different courts. And all these teams are going to be staying there, as far as I know, the entire time until this is settled. I mean, maybe once they're eliminated, they get to go home, what have you. But beyond that, this is how they're handling it, which is interesting in my take. So in there, the playoffs qualifications, the 7 teams in each conference, both Western Conference and Eastern Conference, with the highest combined winning percentage, which includes both regular season games and seeding games. So they're each playing 8 seeding games. So if you were behind and trailing pretty far, but all of a sudden you won all your 8 games, then you're going to bump up really high and you might make the playoffs, and someone else who was ahead of you originally might be sent home. See how that works? Okay. So that is for the 7 teams. Now, the 8th seed team must be more than 4 games ahead of the 9th seed in its conference. If not, then there is a play-in tournament. I'm already getting tired thinking about this. Okay, so the play-in tournament is if the 8th seed team is 4 games or less ahead of the 9th seed in the same conference, the 8th seed must win 1 game to advance to the playoffs. The 9th seed must win 2 games to advance. So that's as clear as mud. Very good. Okay. Again, I think it's kind of an interesting idea. I like how the NHL is keeping people to a couple of small areas to compete for all their games in the remaining time of the season. And I like the fact that the NBA is taking all these teams and keeping them in these, few hotels, and they're all playing in these few, in the same complex arena or area. It's kind of neat. I'm trying to see what else. If I had any more graphics, I don't even remember now. So many graphics. Actually, it's going to be a video. So we're going to play one more quick video. It's only about 1.5 minutes long. But let's get to that right quick before I move on. Okie dokie.
Let me begin by saying it seems somewhat small, to be talking about return to playing basketball in the context of what you guys are talking about. But I mean, that we have been working. I mean, I think when we all talked shortly after we shut down.
And for those of you who don't know, this is actually the commissioner of the NBA. I think his name is Adam Silver.
Season. And of course, we've always been looking for whether or not there is an appropriate and safe way in which we can resume basketball, and knowing that we're going to be living with this virus for a while. And I think just as other industries, other businesses are looking to find their way, I think we've been exploring together with the players whether there, in essence, can be a new normal here. And so what we've come up with now is playing without fans for the time being at a single site, and that would be in Orlando, Florida, at Disney Wild World of Sports Complex. We had extensive discussions, again, with our teams and the players about what the format should be, and ultimately we concluded the fairest way to do this would be to take the 16 teams that, as of March 11th, would have qualified 8 in the West, 8 in the East for the playoffs, but then to take what we're calling the 6 other bubble teams, and that is, and it turns out it's 5 teams in the West and 1 team in the East, and those are the teams that were within 6 games of the 8th seed.
Okay, there you go. So it was with the teams that were within the 8th seed. Cool. Okay, got it. Nice. So again, it's interesting. I believe, from what I understand, the NBA was back tonight. I wish I actually had this pulled up properly. It says NBA is back on ESPN Radio. Listen now as the Lakers face the Clippers. So it's today. It's the 30th. It's not the 31st like the graphics that it is on today, July 30th. So if you like basketball and you're a huge fan, by all means, there should be plenty of games unless there's lots of COVID exposure and positive tests happening everywhere. Other than that, though, you should be able to watch your basketball. So go sports. Yeah. So okay. So now we had those fun parts. Now, so see, that was fun. That was a lot more fun than talking about possibly irrationally delaying the election, which is never going to happen. No. Now we're going to talk about, so then we talk about the NBA. Now we're going to talk about Tim Allen. Why? No, really, why? Why are we talking about Tim Allen? Oh, that's right. Nobody knows. So earlier today, don't know if you ever go on Twitter, but if you do, for some reason, he was trending. Okay, great. He was trending. Tim Allen was trending. Fine. So you would think that would be one of the top things on there, would say why it's trending, you know. Something happened to him. Did he get arrested? Is he being canceled? Does he have some new movie coming out? I mean, who knows, right? Nothing. There's no consensus. There's nobody knowing. In fact, every fifth tweet was like, why is this trending? No one knows. So people just started bringing things up about Tim Allen, facts about movies he's done, and all these other interesting things. And it was actually rather entertaining considering the fact. So here's just a little snippet, if you will, if you're familiar with Tim Allen, he used to be on a show called Tool Time, and he used to play a character who would grunt a lot. So that's on here. See, again, people have no idea. Do we ever figure out why Tim Allen was trending earlier? See, nobody knows. And there was literally thousands, I think tens of thousands of tweets about Tim Allen, and no one knows why. This is the craziness of 2020. And this is actually the fun side of 2020, because, who cares that we're having all these tweets about Tim Allen and nobody knows? At least it's something to do that isn't something negative necessarily. That being said, many people did bring up some negative things about Tim Allen. Of course, he is a well-known conservative, but he is very playful with it. So, I don't think you should beat him up about it, but, and not only that, he has a past. I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not. So I actually brought this up because some of you may not be aware. Right here, this is a mugshot of Tim Allen. This is when he was in his 20s, right? Now you're thinking to yourself, why are you bringing up a mugshot of Tim Allen? Who cares? Many people have mugshots. You're right. Lots and lots of people have mugshots. That's not the problem. The problem is why they took a mugshot. And for those of you who may not know, this is why. So on October 2nd, 1978, Tim Allen, whose real name I believe is Tim Dick, was arrested in Kalamazoo Battle Creek International Airport for possession of over 650 grams, or just under a pound and a half, of cocaine. He subsequently pleaded guilty to felony drug trafficking charges and provided the names of other dealers in exchange for a sentence of 3 to 7 years rather than a possible life imprisonment. Think about that. Think about that for a second. Tim Allen got arrested. He got busted. Who knows why? I'm sure there's 3 different versions of what actually happened. But he was at an airport, and he got busted with nearly a pound and a half of cocaine. Now, if you ask the average person, okay, someone's going to get life imprisonment for cocaine, how much you think you'd have to have on you? Some people have to say, I don't know, 20 pounds, 100 pounds. No, just a pound. Actually, 1.43 pounds would have gotten him a life sentence. But they said, if you turn on some of your other dealers, we will give you a lighter sentence. So he did the thing that he could do to save his butt, and it's exactly what he did. He turned on his fellow dealers, and in exchange for a sentence of 3 to 7 years rather than a possible life imprisonment, he was paroled on June 12, 1981, after serving only 2 years and 4 months in federal correctional institution in Sandstone, Minnesota. Following his release from prison, he returned to comedy because, yes, he was a comedian before then, wasn't making it, decided to sell drugs to make ends meet, and that's what caught him up in this whole situation in the first place. But he returned back to comedy, moved to Los Angeles, and became a regular performer at the Comedy Store, which I'm sure you probably heard of at some point in your life. He began to do stand-up appearances on late-night talk shows. Yes, real late-night talk shows like Johnny Carson and what have you, The Tonight Show, Late Show, David Letterman, you name it. And started recording records, doing specials, and then went on to film and acting. So I saw many people being angry at the fact that Tim Allen turned on fellow drug dealers to get a lighter sentence. And then some people, and I don't want to make this negative, but some people actually tried to make this a race issue and said, well, that's only because he was white. No, it's because he became a snitch. That's why he got a lighter sentence. Instead of getting possible life imprisonment, he was able to escape with was it 3 to 7 years? Yeah, 3 to 7 years, and he was paroled after 2 years and 4 months. That happens all the time. It doesn't make a difference if you're white or you're black. Now, maybe, you can make an argument as saying that it doesn't happen as often for black people. I don't know, but don't make this an ugly thing. He screwed up. He got caught. He became state's evidence. He did what he was told. He got a lighter sentence, and he took that second opportunity and turned his life around. That's what you should be getting from this whole situation. Forget the fact that he was selling drugs. Forget the fact that he went to jail. Forget the fact that he turned, he snitched on his fellow dealers. Take the fact that he had an opportunity, he took it, and he went with it. And now look at him. He became a comedian. He became huge. He became an actor. He got movies, huge deals, television shows. The rest is history, right? Right. Okay, so we only have a couple minutes left, and that's good because I only have one more thing to show you guys for today, and that's going to be this. We're actually going to get to the fun part, sort of this show. It says, have we forgotten how to have fun? And the reason why I'm asking this is if you even do a cursory look at any social media, go on your Facebook, your feed is going to be full of a bunch of negative this, negative that, teacher union this, coronavirus this, schools closed, government issues, people out of work. I mean, it's going to be all negative, right? Go on Twitter, same thing. But I did something that I thought was rather interesting. I don't know if you ever noticed, and this is only actually, I think, available if you're on like a phone or a tablet. I don't think it's on the full desktop or the mobile, like the regular like computer version. But if you go on there, you'll notice that it will say, when you go under search, it'll have sections. It'll say like for you, it'll say COVID-19, it'll say trending, and then news and sports and entertainment, and these are different like tabs you can click on, right? Well, the reason why I bring this up is rather simple, actually, and I think it'll be self-explanatory. But watch towards the end. You'll see me kind of going. I record this from my phone, and you'll see me going through the different tabs, and it'll have like a for you. It'll have COVID. It'll have trending, news, sports, whatever, and just watch what happens as we get to the end. Okay, so I'm in the For You. Lots of things there, right? Everything all over the place. COVID-19, again, lots of things to view, lots of information. You have a lot of choices. Over on to trending, same thing. No matter what we're on, there's lots of choices. Go over to news. News, again, just scrolling, story after story after story. I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, no. See, here's what happens in live television. We don't test everything all the way through. So anyways, okay, then. We're just going to have to scrap that. So anyways, going impromptu. I have to explain for the people at home anyways, or on the podcast. So what happened is I kept going, and I got to the end where it had the fun section. And mind you, everything you were scrolling through, which is page after page after page of opportunities. Well, problem being with that is that when you got to fun, there was 3 things on there. That's it. Just 3. There's more things in life right now. I mean, yes, life is depressing. Life is going to get you down. There are things going on that people are driving everybody nuts. I get that. But there are more than 3 things that are fun right now. Darn it. Find something fun. Put it on Twitter. Make that whole area much bigger. If you're using Twitter, put a hashtag fun and get stuff into that section. It's ridiculous. Find fun things, put it there. All right? Deal? Deal. We're already at 30 minutes. We got to go, people. So you all have a wonderful rest of your night. And remember, this is already the 4th day of this week, so we only have one more show this week. So we'll see you then tomorrow. Have a good one.